The blizzard had buried Blue Ridge under 3 feet of snow, but nothing was colder than the note frozen to the 5-year-old's chest. No one will ever want her. Stone McAllister had survived 2 tours in Afghanistan, had buried his own daughter 15 years ago, had sworn he'd never let himself feel anything again. But when his headlight caught those tiny purple mittens motionless against the white snow on abandoned railroad tracks, when he peeled that frozen paper from her chest and read those 7 words, the hardest man in Montana dropped to his knees in the snow and wept like a child. Subscribe now and comment your city below. Let's see how far this story travels tonight. Stay with me until the end. Stone McAllister's hands hadn't trembled in 15 years, not when he'd held his dying daughter in the hospital, not when he'd lowered her casket into frozen Montana ground, not when he'd rebuilt his entire life from the ashes of that grief brick by brick, wall by wall, until nothing could reach him anymore. But they were trembling now. The little girl weighed nothing, 40 pounds, maybe less. Her body was stiff with cold, her lips blue, her eyes closed. The snow had nearly buried her. If his headlight hadn't caught the purple of those tiny mittens against all that white, he would have ridden right past. He would have let her die. Stone. Hawk's voice cut through the howling wind. What the hell are you? Hawk stopped. Diesel pulled up beside him and killed his engine. Neither man spoke. Stone was kneeling in the snow, cradling something against his chest, his massive shoulders shaking. The president of the Iron Guardians, the man who hadn't shown emotion since 2009, was crying. "Dear God," Diesel whispered, "is that a kid?" Stone couldn't answer. He was staring at the note, the words burning into his brain like a brand. No one will ever want her. Her mother is dead. Her father is in prison. Don't bother looking for who left her. 7 words in the first sentence. 7 words that someone had written deliberately taped to a child's chest and left her to freeze to death on abandoned railroad tracks in the worst blizzard Montana had seen in 20 years. She's alive, Stone managed. Barely. We need to move, now. Hawk was already on his phone. County General, this is an emergency. We're bringing in a child, maybe 5 years old, severe hypothermia, possible frostbite. ETA 15 minutes. Have a trauma team ready. 15 minutes. Diesel grabbed Stone's arm. Hospital's 20 miles. Roads are buried. We'll never make it. Then we'll make a new road. Stone stood the girl pressed against his chest, her small face tucked into the warmth of his neck. Hawk, you ride ahead. Clear anything that gets in our way. Diesel, stay on my 6. Anyone tries to stop us, you handle it. Stone. Hawk's voice was careful. Who is she? I don't know. What are we walking into here if someone left her to die? I don't care. Stone's voice cracked like ice breaking. I don't care who left her or why. Right now this child is dying. Everything else can wait. He mounted his bike one-handed, the girl secured against his chest with his left arm. It was dangerous. It was stupid. Any other night he would never have risked it. But any other night he wasn't holding a ghost. Because that's what she looked like, His Grace. The same white blonde hair, the same small frame. Even the purple mittens, the exact shade Grace had loved. 15 years ago, Stone had been too late. He'd gotten the call about the drunk driver while he was 200 miles away on a club run. By the time he'd reached the hospital, Grace was already gone. He'd never forgiven himself. He wasn't going to be too late again. The ride to County General should have been impossible. 20 miles of buried roads, visibility near zero, wind chill, pushing 40 below. 3 motorcycles carrying 4 souls through a wall of white that erased everything direction, distance, hope. But the Iron Guardians had been riding together for decades. They knew these roads like they knew their own heartbeats. Hawk found the paths where the wind had scoured the snow thin. Diesel watched for hazards calling out through their helmet intercoms. And Stone held that little girl so tight that his arms went numb, but he never loosened his grip. He talked to her the whole way. He didn't know if she could hear him. He didn't care. "Stay with me, sweetheart. We're almost there. You're going to be okay. I've got you. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. Just hold on. Just keep breathing. That's all you have to do." Her heartbeat was faint against his chest. Too faint. But it was there. 11 minutes into the ride, she moved. Just a tiny shift, her frozen fingers curling into the leather of his jacket. Stone felt something crack open inside him, something he'd sealed shut 15 years ago and promised himself he'd never open again. "That's it," he said, his voice breaking. "That's my girl. Hold on to me. I'm not letting go." County General's emergency room erupted when they came through the doors. Stone was covered in snow, his beard frozen, his eyes wild. He was carrying a child who looked more dead than alive, her skin gray, her body limp. Trauma Bay 2. A nurse was already running. "Get the warming blankets. Someone page Dr. Hendricks. Core temp, I need core temp now." They tried to take her from his arms. Stone's grip tightened. "Sir, you need to let her go. We can't help her if you don't let go." "I'm not leaving her." "Sir, I said I'm not leaving her." Hawk stepped forward, his hand on Stone's shoulder. "Brother, let them work. She needs doctors, not us. We did our part. Now let them do theirs." Stone looked down at the girl in his arms. Her eyes were still closed. Her breathing was shallow. But she was breathing. He'd gotten her here in time. Slowly, carefully, he transferred her to the trauma team. But when they started wheeling her toward the treatment area, he followed. "Sir, family only beyond this point." "I found her." Stone's voice was granite. "On the railroad tracks east of town. Someone left her there to die. Until you find her family, if she has any family, I'm not leaving her side." The nurse looked at Hawk and Diesel, both massive men in leather cuts covered with patches. She looked at Stone, his face carved from grief and determination. Are you with a motorcycle gang?" "Club," Diesel corrected. "And we're the reason that little girl is alive instead of frozen to death on some abandoned tracks. So maybe show a little respect." The nurse swallowed. "I'll need to call the police. This is a potential crime scene. Call whoever you want." Stone pushed past her. "I'll be in there with her." 3 hours. That's how long it took for the medical team to stabilize her. 3 hours of warming blankets and IV fluids and constant monitoring. 3 hours of Stone sitting in a plastic chair in the corner, refusing to leave, refusing to eat, refusing to do anything but watch that tiny chest rise and fall. Hawk brought him coffee. He didn't drink it. Diesel tried to get him to talk. He wouldn't. The police came Detective Ryan Cole, a man Stone had clashed with before. Cole looked at the bikers with undisguised contempt. "McAllister, should have known you'd be involved." "I found her." "So I heard. On the old railroad tracks east of town. At 10 o'clock at night. In a blizzard." Cole's tone made it sound like an accusation. "What were you doing out there?" "Toy run." Hawk stepped forward. "We were delivering Christmas donations to St. Mary's Children's Shelter. Got caught in the storm, had to detour around the highway closure. That's when Stone spotted her." Cole wrote something in his notebook. "And you just happened to find an abandoned child." "That's right." "Convenient. Stone stood up so fast his chair hit the wall. Diesel grabbed his arm before he could reach Cole. "Easy, brother. He's not worth it." "You want to accuse me of something, Cole?" Stone's voice was deadly quiet. "Say it. Say it right now with witnesses so I can watch your career end when that little girl tells everyone I saved her life." Cole's jaw tightened. "I'm just doing my job." "Then do it better. Find out who left her there. Find out who taped that note to her chest. Find out who tried to murder a 5-year-old child in a blizzard. That's your job. Mine was getting her here alive. I did my part. Now do yours." A doctor appeared in the doorway before Cole could respond. Young tired, her scrubs wrinkled from a long shift. "Which one of you is Stone McAllister?" "That's me." "She's asking for you." Stone froze. "She's awake." "Barely. Severe hypothermia, frostbite on her feet and hands. She's going to lose some tissue, but she'll keep her fingers and toes. Signs of long-term malnutrition, old bruising consistent with physical abuse, healed fractures in her left arm and 2 ribs. The doctor's voice was clinical, but her eyes were angry. "Someone has been hurting this child for a very long time. Tonight wasn't the first time they tried to get rid of her, just the most direct." Stone felt his blood turn to ice. "What's her name?" "She won't tell us. Won't talk at all, actually. Completely nonverbal since she woke up. But when I mentioned the man who brought her in, she grabbed my arm and said one word." The doctor looked at Stone with something like wonder. "Stay." The room was too bright, too white, too full of machines and beeping sounds that reminded Stone of another hospital room, another child, another night that had destroyed his world. But this child was alive. She was propped up in a bed that seemed to swallow her whole. Wires connected her to monitors. An IV dripped fluids into her tiny arm. Her white blonde hair had been brushed back from her face, revealing features that made Stone's chest ache, delicate, elfin, haunted. Her eyes were open, blue like frozen lakes, and they were fixed on him. Stone approached slowly the way he'd approach a wounded animal. He pulled a chair to her bedside and sat down, putting himself at her eye level. "Hey, sweetheart." She didn't respond, just watched him with those ancient eyes in that child's face. "My name's Stone. I'm the one who found you on the tracks. Do you remember?" "Nothing. You're safe now. You're in a hospital. The doctors are going to take care of you. No one's going to hurt you here." Still nothing. But her eyes never left his face. Stone felt his throat tighten. He'd been trained to handle combat crisis chaos. He'd led men through firefights and held brothers as they died. But sitting here with this silent child who'd been thrown away like garbage, he had no idea what to do. So he did the only thing he could think of. He started talking. "I have a motorcycle club. Iron Guardians. We're not bad guys, whatever the cops might tell you. We do toy runs for kids at Christmas. We escort veterans to funerals. We look out for people who don't have anyone else looking out for them." He paused. "I had a daughter once, Grace. She would have been 20 years old this year. She died when she was 5. Car accident. Drunk driver." The girl's eyes flickered. Something changed in her expression, not much, but enough. "I wasn't there when it happened. I've never forgiven myself for that. But tonight when I saw you on those tracks," Sis Stone's voice broke. "I got another chance. I wasn't too late this time. And I'm not going to let anyone hurt you again. Do you understand?" Silence. Then slowly the girl's hand moved across the blanket. Her fingers wrapped in gauze to protect her damaged skin reached toward him. Stone took her hand gently. So gently, like she was made of glass. "Can you tell me your name, sweetheart? Just your name. That's all." Her lips moved. No sound came out. She tried again. Lily. A whisper barely audible. My name is Lily. Lily. Stone smiled through the tears he couldn't stop. That's a beautiful name. I'm going to stay right here, Lily. All night if you want. You're not alone anymore. Her fingers tightened around his. And for the first time in 15 years, Stone McAllister felt something other than grief. He felt hope. Morning came gray and cold. Stone hadn't slept. He'd sat in that chair all night, Lily's hand in his, watching her breathe. Every time she stirred, he was there. Every time she whimpered in her sleep, he spoke softly until she settled. Hawk and Diesel had stayed too camped out in the waiting room, fending off questions from hospital staff and deflecting Detective Cole's increasingly aggressive inquiries. Around 7, a woman arrived. She was in her 40s, professional in a way that screamed government employee. Her suit was practical, her expression carefully neutral, but her eyes were kind. Mr. McAllister, I'm Elena Vasquez, Child Protective Services. Stone stood, keeping himself between Elena and Lily's bed. She's sleeping. I understand. I'm not here to wake her. I'm here to figure out what happens next. Elena glanced at the chair, the rumpled blankets, the obvious signs that Stone hadn't left all night. The nurses tell me you haven't moved since you brought her in. That's right. You know you're not obligated to stay. You did a good thing finding her, bringing her here. But CPS will take it from here. We'll find placement for her. Placement. Stone's voice hardened. You mean foster care? Temporary foster care while we investigate. We need to find out who she is, who her parents are, who left her. Her name is Lily. Her mother is dead. Her father is in prison. Someone decided she was worthless and left her to die in a blizzard. Stone stepped closer to Elena. That's what I know. And I know that whoever did this is still out there. So you'll have to forgive me if I don't feel great about handing her over to a system that's going to shuffle her from one stranger's house to another. Elena didn't flinch. I understand your concerns, but you're not family. You're not a licensed foster parent. You're a biker, a criminal, trash. I wasn't going to say that, but you were thinking it. Stone sat back down, his hand finding Lily's automatically. I've heard it all before, Miss Vasquez. I know what people see when they look at me. I know what they assume. But that little girl asked me to stay. First word she's spoken in who knows how long, and I made her a promise. Elena was quiet for a moment. Then she pulled up a chair and sat down across from him. Tell me about finding her. Everything. So Stone did. The toy run, the blizzard, the detour, the flash of purple against white, the note, the ride to the hospital, every detail laid out in his rough voice while Lily slept between them. When he finished, Elena's professional mask had slipped. Her eyes were wet. That note, she said quietly. Do you still have it? Gave it to the police. Evidence. Good. That's good. She took a breath, composing herself. Mr. McAllister, I'm going to be honest with you. Our system is overwhelmed. It's Christmas week. We have more children than placements. A traumatized, non-verbal 5-year-old with signs of severe abuse, she's going to be difficult to place quickly. Most foster families aren't equipped to handle that level of need. So what happens to her? If we can't find immediate placement, she stays here until we can. Hospital becomes temporary housing. It's not ideal, but no. Elena blinked. Excuse me. She's not staying in a hospital over Christmas. She's not going to wake up in a strange room with no one who cares about her. Stone leaned forward. What would it take for me to keep her temporarily until you find something better? You're not a licensed foster parent. What would it take to become one? Elena stared at him. In 20 years with CPS, she'd never had a conversation like this. Bikers didn't volunteer to foster abused children. Bikers didn't sit at bedsides all night, holding tiny hands. But then she'd never met Stone McAllister. Emergency placement is possible in extreme circumstances, she said slowly. Background check, home inspection reference interviews. It usually takes weeks, but given the situation, she trailed off. I'd be taking a significant professional risk recommending you. Take it. I don't even know you. You know I found her. You know I brought her in. You know I stayed. Stone's voice was steady. And you know that little girl asked me not to leave her. That might not mean much to you, but it means everything to me. Elena looked at Lily, small, damaged, clinging to Stone's hand even in sleep. I'll make some calls, she said finally. No promises, but I'll try. The background check came back clean. Stone's record showed 1 bar fight at 25 charges dropped, and nothing since. The Iron Guardians MC wasn't classified as a criminal organization, despite what Detective Cole believed. Their clubhouse passed the home inspection once Hawk spent 4 hours cleaning. By noon on Christmas Eve, Elena Vasquez stood in Stone's living quarters at the clubhouse, watching him prepare a bedroom that had been empty for 15 years. This was your daughter's room. Stone nodded, smoothing the blanket on the small bed. Haven't touched it since she died. Couldn't. But it felt wrong to put Lily anywhere else. You really want to do this? I need to do this. He turned to face her. I can't explain it. When I saw her on those tracks, something woke up. Something I thought was dead. Elena handed him a stack of paperwork. Emergency foster placement. Temporary. Subject to review. You'll need to complete parenting classes, attend therapy sessions with her, allow regular home visits. It's not permanent. I understand. And Stone? She waited until he met her eyes. Whatever happens, whatever you learn about who she is and where she came from, don't let her down. She's been let down by everyone who was supposed to protect her. She can't survive being let down again. I won't let her down. Elena left. Stone sat on the edge of the small bed, holding the paperwork that would make him responsible for a child he'd known for less than 24 hours. His hands were shaking again. They brought Lily to the clubhouse on Christmas Eve. She was quiet in the car, her bandaged hands folded in her lap, her eyes watching the world pass by with an expression no child should have. Stone drove slowly, carefully, hyper-aware of every bump in the road. This is where I live, he said as they pulled up to the clubhouse. It might look a little rough, but it's safe. You're safe here. Lily didn't respond. The club had made an effort. Diesel had found a Christmas tree somewhere and decorated it with ornaments that looked like they'd been rescued from a garage sale. Hawk had strung lights along the bar. Someone had put out cookies. A dozen Iron Guardians were waiting when Stone walked in carrying Lily. Big men, rough men, men covered in tattoos and scars, men who looked like criminals to anyone who didn't know better. They stood in absolute silence as Stone carried Lily through the room. She looked at them with those ancient eyes. No fear, just assessment. Then Diesel stepped forward. He was the scariest looking of all of them, 6'5", 300 pounds of face that had stopped more than 1 bar fight just by appearing. He dropped to one knee so he was at Lily's eye level. Hey there, little one. I'm Diesel. I know I look scary, but I'm pretty much a teddy bear. I make really good pancakes. Tomorrow's Christmas, and I was thinking maybe you'd let me make you some. What do you say? Lily studied him for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. Diesel's face broke into a grin that transformed him completely. All right then. Pancakes it is. Any requests I can do chocolate chip, blueberry regular, chocolate chip. Lily's voice was barely a whisper. My mama used to make chocolate chip. Stone's arms tightened around her. Behind him, he heard Hawk clear his throat roughly. Chocolate chip it is, Diesel said softly. Your mama had good taste. Stone carried Lily to her new room, Grace's old room, made new with fresh sheets, and a teddy bear Hawk had found somewhere, and a nightlight shaped like a motorcycle. He set her down on the bed, tucking the blankets around her. Is this okay? If you don't like it, we can change things. Whatever you need. Lily looked around the room. At the nightlight. At the teddy bear. At Stone. My aunt said no one would want me. Stone's heart cracked. Your aunt was wrong. She said I was a burden, that I make everything worse, that everyone would be happier if I disappeared. Lily. Stone knelt beside the bed, taking her bandaged hands in his. Look at me. Your aunt lied. I don't know why she said those things. I don't know why she left you on those tracks, but I know she was wrong about all of it. How do you know? Because I wanted you. The words came out thick, rough. The second I saw you, the second I held you, I wanted you. And those men out there, they want you too. We're going to take care of you now, all of us. You're part of this family. Family. Family isn't just about blood. Sometimes family is the people who show up, the people who stay, the people who choose you. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then, will you stay until I fall asleep? I'll stay as long as you want. Stone sat on the edge of the bed, humming tunelessly, while Lily's eyes grew heavy. It had been 15 years since he'd done this. 15 years since he'd watched a child fall asleep, felt the sacred weight of their trust. He'd thought that part of his life was over. He'd been wrong. Just before she drifted off, Lily spoke again. Stone, yeah, sweetheart, the note was wrong. What's that? The note. It said don't bother looking for who left me. Her eyes met his clearer than any child's eyes should be. But someone should look, because my aunt, she'll do it again, if no one stops her. Stone's blood went cold. What do you mean she'll do it again? But Lily was already asleep. And Stone sat in the darkness, a terrible understanding dawning. This wasn't just about one abandoned child. This was about someone who would keep hurting children until somebody stopped them. And Stone McAllister had just appointed himself that somebody. Stone didn't sleep that night. He sat in the hallway outside Lily's room, his back against the wall, her words echoing in his skull. She'll do it again, if no one stops her. What kind of monster abandons a child to freeze to death? What kind of monster does it so casually that a 5-year-old knows it's not the first time? At 4 a.m., his phone buzzed. Hawk. You awake? Yeah. Got something. Meet me in the bar. Stone checked on Lily, still sleeping, her bandaged hands curled around the teddy bear, and made his way downstairs. Hawk was at the computer, his reading glasses perched on his nose. For a man who looked like he could tear someone apart with his bare hands, he was surprisingly good with technology. Been digging? Hawk said without looking up. Lily Grace Dawson, 5 years old. Mother was Sarah Dawson, died of cancer 2.5 years ago. Father is Marcus Dawson, currently serving year 3 of a 15-year sentence at Montana State Prison. What was the charge? Armed robbery. But here's where it gets interesting. Hawk turned the screen toward Stone. Marcus Dawson had no prior record, not even a parking ticket. Worked as an electrician for 12 years, coached Little League, regular church attendee. Then suddenly out of nowhere he walks into a convenience store with a gun and robs it. People snap. Maybe, but look at this. Hawk pulled up another document. The key witness at his trial was Vera Blackwood, Sarah Dawson's sister. She testified that Marcus had been planning the robbery for weeks, said she heard him talking about it. Stone's jaw tightened. The aunt, the one who left Lily on the tracks. Has to be. After Marcus went to prison, Vera petitioned for emergency custody of Lily. Got it within 2 weeks. Fast even by family court standards. Why would she want custody if she was just going to money? Hawk pulled up another screen. Sarah and Vera's mother died 6 months before Sarah did. Left everything to her 2 daughters, about $400,000 total. Sarah's share went into a trust for Lily with Vera named as trustee. Stone felt sick. She took the kid for the money. Gets worse. I found withdrawal records. Vera's been draining that trust for 2 years. There's almost nothing left. Maybe 10 grand. Hawk sat back. My guess, she bled the account dry, realized the money was gone, and decided Lily was no longer useful. So she drove her to the middle of nowhere and left her to die. Clean, simple. No body to find until spring. By then, Vera could claim ignorance, say Lily ran away. Say she was kidnapped. Who's going to question a grieving aunt? Stone's hands were shaking again, not with fear this time, but with rage. Where is she now, Vera? That's the thing. I can't find her. Last known address was a rental in Helena. Landlord says she cleared out 3 days ago. No forwarding address. She ran. Or she's lying low, waiting to see if anyone connects her to Lily. Hawk removed his glasses. Stone if she finds out Lily survived. She won't get near her. You can't watch her 24 hours a day. Watch me. The sun was coming up when Lily appeared in the doorway. She was still in her hospital pajamas, the teddy bear clutched against her chest. Her white blonde hair was tangled from sleep, and her bandaged feet made soft sounds on the wooden floor. Stone? He was at her side, instantly kneeling to her level. Hey, sweetheart. You should be in bed. It's early. I woke up and you weren't there. The words hit him like a punch. I'm sorry. I had to talk to Hawk about something. I should have left a note. I thought you left. Her voice was small, like everyone else. Stone gathered her into his arms, lifting her carefully. I'm not going anywhere, Lily. I promise. When I leave a room, I'm coming back, always. She pressed her face into his shoulder. Promise. Promise. Hawk watched from the bar, his expression unreadable, but Stone caught the look in his eyes, something soft, something surprised. Diesel's making pancakes, Hawk said gruffly. Chocolate chip. You hungry, little one? Lily peeked out from Stone's shoulder. Is it Christmas? Sure is. I've never had a real Christmas. The silence that followed was deafening. Stone carried her to the kitchen where Diesel was standing at the stove, wearing a ridiculous apron that said, "Kiss the cook," and flipping pancakes with surprising grace. There she is. Diesel's face lit up. Perfect timing. First batch is almost ready. You want milk or orange juice? Milk, please. Coming right up. Stone set Lily in a chair at the big wooden table. Within minutes, she had a plate of pancakes in front of her, a glass of milk, and a napkin tucked into her collar by Diesel, who fussed over her like a grandmother. She ate slowly at first, then faster, like she was afraid someone would take the food away. Stone and Hawk exchanged a look. Neither spoke. When she finished, Lily looked up at Stone with syrup on her chin. Stone, can I ask you something? Anything. Why did you save me? The question was so simple, so devastating. Because you needed saving. But you didn't know me. You didn't have to stop. Stone pulled his chair closer to hers. Lily, do you know why I have a motorcycle club? She shook her head. Because when I got back from the war, I was lost. I'd seen terrible things, done terrible things. I didn't know who I was anymore. The men in this club, they found me. They took me in when nobody else would. They became my family." He paused. "I stopped because someone stopped for me once. And because you deserve to have someone stop for you." Lily considered this. "My aunt said I didn't deserve anything." "Your aunt was wrong about a lot of things. She said my daddy was a bad man, that he robbed a store and hurt people." Stone hesitated. This was delicate ground. "Do you believe that Daddy never hurt anyone? He was gentle. He used to carry me on his shoulders and call me his princess." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "I don't understand why he went away. I don't understand why Aunt Vera said he was bad." "Lily, sometimes people lie. Sometimes they say things that aren't true because they want something, or because they're afraid, or because they're just mean." Stone chose his words carefully. "I don't know your daddy. I don't know what happened, but I'm going to try to find out, okay? You'll find out the truth. I'll try." Lily nodded solemnly. Then, "Stone, one more question." "Go ahead." "What happened to your daughter Grace?" The kitchen went silent. Diesel stopped moving. Hawk, who had just walked in, froze in the doorway. Stone felt the familiar pain lance through his chest, but he didn't look away from Lily's eyes. "She died. A long time ago. A drunk driver hit the car she was in." "Were you there?" "No, I was far away. By the time I got to the hospital, she was already gone." "Is that why you saved me, because you couldn't save her?" Stone's breath caught, from the mouths of babes. "Maybe," he admitted. "Maybe that's part of it. But mostly I saved you because you're worth saving, Lily. You specifically. Not as a replacement for Grace. Not as a way to fix my past. You." Lily reached out and touched his face with her bandaged hand. "I'm glad you found me." "Me too, sweetheart. Me too." The moment was broken by the sound of motorcycles pulling up outside. Lots of them. Hawk moved to the window. "Rest of the club. They heard about our Christmas guest, wanted to meet her." Stone looked at Lily. "You up for meeting some more people? They might look scary, but I promise they're not." Lily glanced toward the door, then back at Stone. "Will you stay with me? Right by your side." "Okay." The next hour was something Stone would never forget. 23 members of the Iron Guardians filed into the clubhouse, each one stopping to kneel before Lily and introduce themselves. Big men with hard faces and gentle voices. Men who had seen violence and dealt violence, who lived on the margins of society, who were looked at with fear and suspicion everywhere they went. And every single one of them was wrapped around this tiny girl's finger within minutes. Bear the club's sergeant-at-arms produced a stuffed animal from inside his jacket, a purple elephant. "Thought you might like this. Purple's a good color." Lily hugged the elephant tight. "How did you know I like purple? Lucky guess." Razor, covered in tattoos from neck to fingertips, showed her magic tricks with a deck of cards. "Pick a card. Any card. Don't show me." Lily picked one, peeked at it, put it back in the deck. Razor shuffled cut and produced her card from behind her ear. "Is this your card? How did you do that? Magic." He winked. "I'll teach you sometime." Doc, the club's medic, checked her bandages with surprising tenderness. "Healing up nicely. You're a tough kid, you know that. Stone says I'm brave." Stone's right. By noon, Lily was sitting on Diesel's shoulders laughing as he galloped around the clubhouse making horse noises. Stone watched from the bar, something tight in his chest loosening for the first time in days. Then Elena Vasquez walked in. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking. "Stone, we need to talk. Now." He met her in the hallway, away from Lily's ears. "What's wrong?" "She's filed a missing persons report." "Who?" "Vera Blackwood. She walked into the Helena police station this morning crying, claiming her niece was kidnapped 2 days ago. She's demanding that Lily be returned to her immediately. Stone felt the floor shift beneath his feet. That's insane. She left Lily to die. She's claiming you took her, that you and your gang snatched Lily from her car during the storm and are holding her hostage. Elena's voice was strained. She has an attorney, a good one, and she's threatening to go to the media if Lily isn't returned within 48 hours. The note proves she's claiming you wrote the note, to frame her, to justify keeping Lily. Stone's vision went red. That's the most ridiculous— I know. Elena grabbed his arm. But Stone, she's the legal guardian. She has custody paperwork. She has standing. Unless we can prove she's the one who abandoned Lily, your emergency placement could be revoked. Today. You can't take her back to that woman. Elena, you've seen the medical reports, the old fractures, the malnutrition. Vera's been abusing her for years. I know, but abuse is hard to prove when the alleged abuser is claiming to be the victim. Elena looked toward the main room where Lily's laughter could still be heard. We need Lily to tell us what happened, in detail, on record. She barely talks. She talks to you. Stone closed his eyes. I can't push her. She's been through enough. If you don't, you might lose her. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Stone found Lily in the garage, watching Hawk polish his motorcycle. Lily, can we talk for a minute? She looked up at him, and he saw the instant shift in her expression. The wariness returning. The walls going up. She knew something was wrong. Am I in trouble? No, sweetheart. Never. He sat down on an overturned crate, patting the space beside him. I need to ask you some questions. About your aunt. About what happened before I found you. Lily's face went blank. Not sad, not scared, just blank. Like a switch had been flipped. I don't want to talk about Aunt Vera. I know, and I'm sorry, but something's happened and I need to understand so I can protect you. What happened? Stone debated how much to tell her. But Lily was smart. Smarter than any 5-year-old had a right to be. She'd see through any lie. Your aunt is saying that I took you away from her, that I kidnapped you. She wants to take you back. The color drained from Lily's face. No, I'm not going to let that happen. But I need you to help me, Lily. I need you to tell me the truth about what happened. All of it. Lily was trembling. Her hand, still bandaged, still healing, clutched the purple elephant so hard her knuckles went white. She'll hurt me. If I tell, she'll hurt me worse. She can't hurt you anymore. I won't let her. You don't understand. Lily's voice cracked. She always wins. She told the police about Daddy and they believed her. She told the social workers she loved me, and they believed her. No one ever believes the truth. Stone's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. I'll believe you. I promise, Lily. Whatever you tell me, I'll believe you. Lily looked at him for a long moment, testing, weighing, deciding. Then she started to talk, and what she said made Stone want to burn the world down. Aunt Vera hated me from the beginning. She said I was a reminder of Mama, and she didn't want to remember Mama. She said Mama was always the favorite, always the pretty one, always the one everyone loved. She said I had Mama's face and she couldn't stand looking at it. Where did you live? Her apartment. But I wasn't allowed in most of it. I had a room in the basement. It was dark and cold. There were bugs. Stone's fists clenched. Did she feed you? Sometimes, when she remembered. Sometimes I went days without eating. Lily's voice was flat, reciting facts like a grocery list. When I cried, she locked the door. When I was too loud, she hit me. When I asked about Daddy, she said he was a criminal who never loved me, and I should forget he existed. Lily, did she ever hurt you badly? Bad enough that you needed a doctor? Lily nodded slowly. She pushed me down the stairs once. My arm broke. She told the hospital I fell off my bike. Did anyone ask you what really happened? A nurse did. But Aunt Vera was standing right there. She was smiling at me, but her eyes were scary. Lily shuddered. I knew if I told the truth, something bad would happen when we got home. So you lied. I said I fell off my bike. Stone wanted to scream. He wanted to find Vera Blackwood and show her exactly what he'd learned in Afghanistan. Instead, he kept his voice steady. Tell me about the night I found you. What happened before? Lily was quiet for a long time. She came home angry. She was always angry, but this time was worse. She was yelling about money, about how there wasn't enough, about how Mama's money was supposed to last longer. She said it was my fault. Everything was my fault. Then what? She grabbed me, put me in the car, said we were going for a drive. Lily's eyes went distant, seeing something far away. She drove for a long time. It was snowing really hard. I asked where we were going. She didn't answer. Stone waited. She stopped by some old buildings, train tracks. She pulled me out of the car, put something on my chest, the note. I couldn't read all the words, but I knew they were bad. Did she say anything? She said nobody wanted me. She said I was worthless. She said in a few hours everything would be better. Lily's voice broke. Then she got back in the car and drove away. She didn't even look back. Stone pulled her into his arms, holding her, while she finally cried. Great, heaving sobs that shook her entire body. Years of pain and fear and loneliness pouring out in a flood. I tried to walk, she gasped between sobs. But my feet hurt. I fell down. I heard a train. I was so scared. Then you came. You picked me up and you were warm and you said I was going to be okay. You are going to be okay. You promise. I swear on my life. Elena had been listening from the doorway. Her face was wet with tears. I have enough, she said quietly. I'm calling my supervisor. We're not returning her to Vera Blackwood. Not now. Not ever. What about her accusations? Her lawyer? Let her accuse. Let her lawyer try. Elena's voice hardened with determination. I've been doing this job for 20 years. I know what abused children look like. I know what liars look like. And I know which one Vera Blackwood is. She made the call. Then she made 5 more. Then she was on the phone with the State Attorney General's office demanding an emergency review of Lily's custody case. Stone stayed with Lily, holding her while she cried herself out. When she finally quieted, exhausted, he carried her to her room and tucked her in. I'll be right outside, he said. I'm not going anywhere. Stone, yeah. Thank you for believing me. Always, sweetheart. Always. He closed the door gently and walked back to the bar where Hawk and Diesel were waiting. What's the plan? Hawk asked. We find Vera Blackwood. And then, Stone's eyes were cold. Then we make sure she never hurts anyone again. The legal way, if possible. And if not. Stone didn't answer. He didn't have to. Some monsters couldn't be stopped by the legal system. Some monsters required other methods. And Stone McAllister had learned a lot of methods in Afghanistan. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hello? A woman's voice. Sweet. Poisonous. Mr. McAllister, this is Vera Blackwood. I believe you have something that belongs to me. Stone's blood turned to ice. You have 24 hours to return my niece. After that, I'm going to the media. I'm going to every news station in Montana. I'm going to tell them how a violent biker gang kidnapped a defenseless child from her loving family. And when I'm done, you won't just lose her. You'll lose everything." The line went dead. Stone stood frozen, the phone still pressed to his ear. 24 hours. Vera wasn't waiting for the legal system either. She was coming for Lily. And Stone had one day to stop her. Stone stared at the dead phone in his hand. 24 hours. That's all he had. 24 hours before Vera Blackwood turned this into a media circus, before she painted him as the villain and herself as the victim, before she twisted the narrative so completely that the truth wouldn't matter anymore. "Who was that?" Hawk was already on his feet. "Vera. She called you. How did she get your number?" "Doesn't matter." Stone shoved the phone in his pocket. "She's making her move. Gave me 24 hours to return Lily, or she goes to the press." Diesel slammed his fist on the bar. "That's insane. She tried to kill that kid. She can't just... She can. She will." Stone's mind was racing. "She's counting on us being the bad guys. Biker's criminal record's rough lifestyle. All she has to do is cry on camera, and every news station in Montana will run the story. Dangerous gang kidnaps child from loving aunt. It writes itself." "So what do we do?" Stone turned to Hawk. "You said you couldn't find her. Where did you look? Her last address in Helena, bank records, credit cards. She's been dark for 3 days." "She's not dark. She just called me. She's somewhere with cell service, somewhere she feels safe enough to make threats." Stone grabbed his jacket. "Pull her phone records. Find every call she's made in the last week. Track her location." "That's going to take time." "Then start now." "Stone." Elena's voice cut through the tension. She was standing in the hallway, her face pale. "There's something else you need to know. I just got off the phone with the state attorney's office. And they're taking this seriously. They're opening an investigation into Vera Blackwood, but they're also opening an investigation into you." The room went silent. "Me. What the hell did I do? You're a biker with a history of violence. One bar fight, 20 years ago. It doesn't matter. Vera's lawyer is good. He's already filed complaints with 3 different agencies. He's claiming you have a pattern of targeting vulnerable children. He's demanding a full review of your emergency foster placement." Stone felt the walls closing in. "This is ridiculous. I saved Lily's life." "I know, but the system doesn't care about intentions. It cares about process. And right now, Vera Blackwood is playing the process better than we are." Elena stepped closer. "Stone, if they revoke your placement before we can prove what Vera did, she could get Lily back. Legally. And there would be nothing any of us could do to stop it. Over my dead body. That's what I'm afraid of." Elena's eyes were hard. "Don't do anything stupid. Don't give them ammunition. Whatever you're planning, keep it legal." Stone didn't respond. Elena grabbed his arm. "I mean it. If you go after Vera yourself, if you threaten her, if you do anything that looks like intimidation, you'll lose Lily forever. Is that what you want? I want her safe. Then let me do my job. Let the system work. The system let her get abused for 2 years. The system put her father in prison on false testimony. The system almost let her freeze to death on railroad tracks." Stone's voice was ice. "Forgive me if I don't have a lot of faith in the system." Elena's phone rang. She glanced at it, and her expression shifted. "I have to take this. It's my supervisor." She stepped away, her voice low and urgent. Stone turned to his brothers. "I need everything you can find on Vera Blackwood. Bank accounts, phone records, employment history, known associates, anyone she's ever talked to, dated, worked with. I want to know what she has for breakfast. I want to know her secrets." "What are you looking for?" "Leverage. If she wants to play dirty, we'll play dirtier." Diesel hesitated. "Stone, Elena's right. If we cross certain lines, I'm not going to hurt her. I'm going to expose her." Stone's jaw tightened. Everyone has secrets, Diesel. Everyone has things they don't want coming out. Vera Blackwood isn't just some innocent aunt. She framed her own brother-in-law. She stole from her niece. She tried to murder a 5-year-old. There's got to be a trail. We just need to find it. And if we can't find it in 24 hours, then we find another way. Stone walked to Lily's room. She was still asleep, curled around her teddy bear, her face peaceful in a way it never was when she was awake. He stood in the doorway watching her breathe. He'd made her a promise. He'd sworn on his life. He wasn't going to break that promise, no matter what it cost. The next 6 hours were a blur of activity. Hawk worked the computers, digging through every database he could access, legal and otherwise. Diesel made calls to contacts in Helena, people who owed him favors, people who knew how to find information that didn't want to be found. Bear and Razor hit the streets asking questions at bars and truck stops, anywhere Vera might have passed through. By midnight, they had a picture forming. Vera Blackwood wasn't just greedy. She was a professional con artist. Look at this. Hawk spread printouts across the bar. 3 marriages, 3 divorces. Every husband accused her of fraud. First one, she drained his retirement account. Second one, she convinced him to sign over his house, then left him a week later. Third one, she had committed to a psychiatric facility and tried to have him declared incompetent so she could control his assets. How is she not in prison? She's smart. She stays just inside the line. Makes sure there's always plausible deniability. Plus, she's good at picking victims, people who are ashamed to admit they were conned, people who just want her gone. Stone studied the documents. What about the trust money, Lily's inheritance? Gone. All of it. She withdrew the last of it 2 weeks ago. Took out a $15,000 cash advance on Lily's credit, yeah. She opened credit cards in a 5-year-old's name and disappeared. She was getting ready to run. Looks like it. My guess, she was going to drain everything, dump Lily somewhere, and start over in another state. New name, new identity, new victims. But she didn't run. She came back. Hawk nodded slowly. She didn't expect Lily to survive. When she heard about the rescue, she realized she had a problem. A witness. A victim who could identify her. So she switched strategies. Get Lily back. Silence her. Or get rid of her legally. If she regains custody, she can take Lily anywhere. Disappear. And no one would think twice about an aunt moving away with her orphaned niece. Stone felt cold spread through his chest. She's not running from justice. She's planning to finish what she started. That's my read? Stone's phone buzzed. Unknown number again. He answered. Mr. McAllister. Vera's voice was silk over razor blades. Have you reconsidered my offer? How do you sleep at night? Quite well, actually. I have a very comfortable bed. She laughed, light and pleasant. I'm calling to give you an update. I've just finished a lovely interview with a reporter from the Helena Independent Record. Such a nice young man. Very sympathetic to my plight. Stone's grip tightened on the phone. You're lying. Am I? Check your email in the morning. I gave him quite a story. The grieving aunt. The violent biker gang. The terrified child being held against her will. Vera's voice hardened. You had your chance, Mr. McAllister. Now I'm going to destroy you. Vera, listen to me. I know what you did. I know about the trust fund, the credit cards in Lily's name, the 3 ex-husbands you defrauded. I know everything. Silence. I have documents, Stone continued. Bank records, witness statements, enough to put you away for years. So here's my counteroffer. Walk away, disappear, never contact Lily again. Do that and I'll let you go. More silence. Then Vera laughed. You're bluffing. Try me. Even if you have what you say you have, it doesn't matter. By the time anyone investigates, I'll have Lily back. I'll be gone. and you'll be in prison for kidnapping." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You can't win this, Mr. McAllister. I've been playing this game my entire life. You're an amateur." The line went dead. Stone threw his phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. "I take it that didn't go well?" Hawk's voice was dry. "She's not scared. She thinks she's untouchable." "She might be right. Everything we have is circumstantial. It shows a pattern, but it doesn't prove she left Lily on those tracks. Without that, she's just a loving aunt being harassed by a motorcycle gang." Stone sank into a chair, his head in his hands. For the first time since he'd found Lily, he felt despair creeping in. He couldn't lose her. Not now. Not after everything. "Stone," the small voice came from the doorway. Lily was standing there, the teddy bear clutched to her chest, her eyes wide with fear. "Hey, sweetheart," Stone forced his voice to steady. "What are you doing up? I heard yelling. I heard my aunt's name." Lily's lip trembled. "Is she coming for me?" Stone crossed the room and knelt before her. "I'm not going to let her hurt you. I promised." "But she's smart. She always wins. She told me that. She said no one would ever believe me over her." Tears spilled down Lily's cheeks. "She was right. Nobody ever believed me before." "I believe you. But you're just one person." Stone felt his heart crack open. This child, this tiny girl who'd been through hell, was trying to protect him from disappointment, trying to prepare him for the inevitable. She'd never known anything but betrayal. "Lily, can I tell you something?" She nodded. "When I was in the war, I learned something important. Sometimes the people who seem the weakest are the strongest. Sometimes the people who seem powerless are the ones who change everything." He took her bandaged hands in his. "Your aunt thinks she's won because she's loud, and she lies, and she scares people. But you know what she doesn't have? What? The truth. And people who love you." Stone squeezed her hands gently. "You have me. You have Hawk and Diesel and everyone in this club. You have Elena. And we're not going to stop fighting for you, not ever." Lily stared at him. Then slowly she said something that changed everything. "I have proof." Stone's breath caught. "What proof? That Aunt Vera left me on the tracks?" Lily's voice was barely a whisper. "She doesn't know I have it." "Lily, what kind of proof?" "Her phone. She was talking on her phone when she drove me to the tracks. To someone. A man. She was telling him where to meet her, what she was doing. She didn't know I was listening." "That's not honey, that's not proof. That's your word against hers." "But I remember the name. The man's name." Lily's eyes met his. "She called him Bobby. She said, 'Bobby, I'm leaving the brat on the tracks near the old Wilson warehouse. Pick me up in 20 minutes, and we'll be in Canada by morning.'" Stone's heart stopped. "Bobby Carver." Lily nodded. "That's what she said. Bobby Carver." Hawk was already at the computer. "Bobby Carver. Bobby Carver. Holy—" He looked up, his face white. "Stone. Bobby Carver is a registered sex offender. He did 8 years for assaulting a minor. He's on parole, and his last known address is Helena, Montana." The pieces clicked into place with horrifying clarity. Vera hadn't just been planning to run. She'd been planning to sell Lily. She was going to give her to a pedophile. Stone's voice came out strangled. "She was going to let that monster, she was going to make it look like Lily died in the blizzard," Hawk continued, his voice shaking. "Then deliver her to Carver, probably for money, and Lily would have disappeared forever." Stone saw red. Pure, absolute, murderous red. "Find him." His voice was unrecognizable. Find Bobby Carver. Now. Stone, we should call the police. Find him. Now. 3 hours later, they had an address. A cabin in the woods 40 miles north of Helena. Remote, isolated, perfect for hiding. For Stone stood outside the cabin, Hawk and Diesel flanking him. The sun was just starting to rise, painting the snow pink and gold. Police are 15 minutes out, Hawk said quietly. Elena called them. They're sending everyone. Good. Stone, we should wait. Let the cops handle it. I just need to see. I need to know if she's in there. He moved toward the cabin. Through the window he could see movement. 2 figures. One tall and heavy. One smaller, thinner. Vera. She was pacing her phone pressed to her ear, her face twisted with anger. The man Bobby Carver Stone assumed was sitting at a table watching her. Doesn't matter. The plan can still work. We just need to get her back. Once we're in Canada. Stone kicked the door in. The next few seconds were chaos. Carver jumped up, reaching for something on the table. Stone hit him before he could grab at a gun. Stone realized dimly, and the man went down hard. Vera screamed. You... How did you... It's over, Vera. Stone stood over Carver's unconscious body, his chest heaving. I know everything. I know about the money, about Bobby, about what you were planning to do with Lily. You don't know anything. You can't prove. She heard you. Lily heard you on the phone. She knows what you were planning. Stone stepped toward her. And so do the police. They'll be here in 10 minutes. Vera's face went white. Then, like a switch being flipped, it twisted into something ugly. That little bitch. I should have killed her myself instead of leaving her to the cold. Thank you. Elena's voice came from the doorway. She was holding her phone up the record light, blinking. I got all of that. Vera spun. Her eyes went wild. That's inadmissible. You can't. I didn't consent, my lawyer. Montana is a one-party consent state. Elena stepped inside her eyes, hard as diamonds. I only needed my own permission to record. And you just confessed to attempted murder in front of witnesses. Sirens wailed in the distance. Vera made a break for the back door. Diesel caught her before she'd gone 3 steps, his massive hand closing around her arm. Going somewhere. Let me go. This is assault. I'll sue every one of you. Lady, you tried to kill a 5-year-old girl and sell her to a pedophile. Diesel's voice was ice. I'd choose my next words real carefully. The police arrived in a wave of flashing lights and shouted commands. Vera and Bobby were handcuffed, read their rights loaded into separate cruisers. Detective Cole was there, his face grim as he surveyed the scene. He approached Stone. McAllister. Cole. I owe you an apology. Stone blinked. Of all the things he'd expected Cole to say, that wasn't one of them. I thought you were the bad guy here. I thought... Cole shook his head. I was wrong. You saved that little girl's life. Twice. Just doing what anyone would do. No. Cole's voice was firm. You did what most people wouldn't. Most people would have kept driving that night. Would have told themselves it wasn't their problem. You stopped. You fought. You didn't give up. He extended his hand. Thank you. Stone shook it. What happens now? Vera Blackwood is looking at attempted murder, child abuse, fraud, and conspiracy charges. Bobby Carver violated his parole by associating with her, plus whatever else we find on his computer, and trust me, we're going to look hard. Cole glanced toward the cruiser, where Vera sat, her face blank with shock. She's not getting out. Not for a very long time. And Lily, that's up to the family courts. But if you're asking my opinion... Cole almost smiled. I think that little girl couldn't be in better hands. The drive back to the clubhouse was quiet. Stone didn't feel triumph. He didn't feel relief. He just felt tired. Bone deep, soul deep, exhausted. But underneath the exhaustion, something else was growing. Hope. For the first time in 15 years, Stone McAllister allowed himself to hope. Lily was waiting when he walked through the door. She ran to him and threw her arms around his waist, holding on like she'd never let go. "You came back. I told you I would. Is she gone, Aunt Vera? Is she really gone?" Stone knelt down, looking into her eyes. "She's gone, sweetheart. She's never going to hurt you again. I promise." Lily started to cry. Not the panicked sobs of trauma, but something else. Something cleaner. Release. Relief. Stone held her while she cried. And for the first time, he let himself cry too. For Grace, who he couldn't save. For Lily, who he could. For the second chance he never thought he'd get. Elena found them like that, wrapped in each other's arms. "Stone, there's something you need to know." He looked up, his heart clenching with sudden fear. "What now?" "Marcus Dawson. Lily's father." Elena's face was unreadable. His appeal just got expedited. New evidence. Prosecutorial misconduct. His lawyer thinks he could be out within 6 months. Lily lifted her head. "Daddy, he's coming home, Lily." Elena smiled through her own tears. "Your daddy's coming home." Stone felt the ground shift beneath him again. Everything was about to change, and he had no idea if he was ready. 6 months. Stone had 6 months to prepare for the moment that would either complete Lily's healing or shatter everything they'd built together. Marcus Dawson was coming home. The first month passed in a blur of normalcy that Stone had never expected. Lily started kindergarten. She made friends. She learned to laugh without looking over her shoulder first. The nightmares came less frequently, and when they did, Stone was always there. But underneath the healing, a clock was ticking. She asked about him again today. Elena sat across from Stone at the clubhouse bar, her coffee growing cold. "3rd time this week." "What did you tell her?" "The truth. That her father loves her. That he's working hard to come home. That it's going to take time." Stone stared into his own cup. Does she understand what that means? That when he comes home, everything changes. She's 5 stone. She understands that her daddy is coming back. The rest, Elena sighed. That's going to be complicated. For everyone. Yes, for everyone. Elena reached across and touched his hand. "How are you doing with this?" Stone didn't answer immediately. How was he doing? He'd spent 6 months becoming a father again. 6 months learning to braid hair and pack lunches and read bedtime stories. 6 months feeling his frozen heart thaw 1 degree at a time. And now he might lose it all. "I want what's best for her," he finally said. "If that's Marcus, then that's Marcus. That's not what I asked. It's the only answer I have." The first video call with Marcus happened on a Tuesday afternoon. Stone set up the laptop in the living room, his hands steadier than he felt. Lily sat on the couch, her feet swinging nervously, the teddy bear clutched to her chest. "You don't have to do this if you're not ready," Stone said. "We can wait." "I want to see him." Lily's voice was small, but certain. "I want to see my daddy." The screen flickered. A face appeared, thin, weathered with eyes that held too much pain and too much hope. "Lily," Marcus's voice cracked. "Baby girl, Daddy." Stone watched as Lily pressed her hands against the screen as if she could reach through it. Marcus was crying openly, making no effort to hide it. "Look at you. Look how big you got. You're so beautiful, baby. Just like your mama. Daddy, I missed you. I missed you so much. I missed you too, sweetheart. Every single day, every single minute. Marcus wiped his face. I'm so sorry, Lily. I'm so sorry I wasn't there to protect you. It's okay, Daddy. Stone protected me. Marcus's eyes shifted to somewhere off-screen to Stone, who was standing just out of frame. Stone McAllister? Stone moved into view. Mr. Dawson. For a long moment, the two men just looked at each other. Father and protector. Past and present. Two men who loved the same little girl. Thank you. Marcus's voice was barely audible. Elena told me everything. What you did. How you saved her. I can never... He stopped overcome. You don't have to thank me. Yes, I do. You gave me back my daughter. You gave her back her life. Marcus took a shaky breath. I was so scared, Mr. McAllister. When I heard what Vera did, what she was planning, I thought I'd lost her forever. I thought I'd never see her again. You're seeing her now. Because of you. Lily tugged at Stone's sleeve. Daddy Stone's my friend. He takes care of me. He makes Diesel make me pancakes. Marcus laughed through his tears. Is that right? Chocolate chip? And he taught me how to fix motorcycles. Well, a little bit. He says I'm too young for the hard stuff. Smart man. Marcus's eyes met Stone's again. I hear you were Army. 2 tours. Afghanistan. I wanted to serve. Never got the chance. Life got in the way. Marcus paused. What you did for my daughter, that service. The best kind. Stone didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. The call lasted an hour. By the end, Lily was smiling in a way Stone had never seen before, pure, uncomplicated joy. She had her father back. And Stone knew with painful certainty that he was going to lose her. The months continued. More video calls, letters, care packages that Stone helped Lily put together. A relationship rebuilding itself across prison walls and miles of distance. Stone watched it all with a strange mix of pride and grief. You're quiet tonight. Hawk found him on the clubhouse roof, staring at nothing. More than usual. Just thinking about what happens next. And Stone turned to his oldest friend. I've been fooling myself, Hawk, pretending this could last forever, pretending she could be mine. She is yours, in every way that matters. She's his daughter, his blood, his right. Stone's voice was hollow. When Marcus gets out, he's going to want her back, and the court is going to give her to him. That's how it should be. Is it? Stone frowned. What do you mean? I mean, yeah, Marcus is her biological father. But where was he when Vera was locking her in basements? Where was he when she was being starved and beaten? Where was he when she was left to die on railroad tracks in a blizzard? He was in prison for something he didn't do. Doesn't change what Lily went through. Doesn't change who was there when she needed someone. Hawk's voice was hard. You were there, Stone. You, not Marcus. He's not a bad man. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that Lily's been through hell, and you're the one who pulled her out. That matters. That should count for something. Stone shook his head slowly. It counts, but it doesn't make her mine. She needs her father. She needs you. She needs both. Hawk was quiet for a long moment. Then, so make sure she gets both. Stone looked at him. What? Why does it have to be either or? Why does Marcus coming home mean you're gone? Hawk leaned against the railing. Talk to him. Figure something out. You're both adults. You both love that little girl. Find a way to make it work. You think he'd go for that? I think he owes you his daughter's life. I think that buys you a conversation, at least. Stone stared out at the darkness, turning the idea over in his mind. Maybe Hawk was right. Maybe there was a way through this that didn't end with him losing everything. Maybe. The court date came faster than Stone expected. Marcus's appeal had succeeded. The conviction was overturned. After 3 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, he was being released. Stone drove to the prison with Lily in the passenger seat. She'd insisted on being there. She'd refused to wait another minute. "Stone? Yeah, sweetheart. Are you going to leave when Daddy comes out?" Stone's hands tightened on the wheel. "Why would you ask that?" "Because everyone leaves. Mama left. Daddy left. Aunt Vera left." Lily's voice was matter-of-fact, stating truths she'd learned too young. "People always leave." Stone pulled the truck to the side of the road. He turned to face her, taking her hands in his. "Lily, look at me. I am not leaving. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. Do you understand? But Daddy's coming home." "Yes, he is. And that's wonderful. You're going to live with him again in a real house like a real family." Stone's voice caught. "But that doesn't mean I disappear. That doesn't mean you lose me." "Promise. I swear it. On my life. On everything I have." And Stone pulled her into a hug. "You're stuck with me, kiddo. Forever." "Good." Lily's arms tightened around his neck. "Because I don't want a new family. I want to keep my old one and add to it." Stone laughed, despite himself. "That's a pretty smart way to look at it." Diesel said it. He said families aren't about blood. They're about who shows up. Diesel's a wise man. Don't tell him that. It'll go to his head. They arrived at the prison just as the gates opened. Marcus Dawson walked out looking older than his 35 years. His hair was grayer. His face was lined. But his eyes were alive with hope. "Daddy." Lily launched herself out of the truck before Stone could stop her. She ran across the parking lot and threw herself into her father's arms. Marcus caught her, lifting her off the ground, spinning her around while they both laughed and cried. Stone watched from the truck, his heart full and breaking at the same time. This was right. This was how it should be. So why did it hurt so much? Marcus finally set Lily down and walked toward Stone. The two men faced each other, all the weight of the past months hanging between them. "Mr. McAllister." "Marcus, call me Stone." "Stone." Marcus extended his hand. "I don't have words. I've been trying to find them for 6 months and I still don't have them." Stone shook his hand. "You don't need words. Just take care of her." "I will. I swear I will." Marcus paused. "But I need you to know something. I'm not taking her away from you." Stone blinked. "What?" "I talked to Elena. I talked to Lily's therapist. I even talked to Detective Cole." Marcus's voice was steady. "They all said the same thing. Lily loves you. She needs you. Pulling her away from you would be like pulling her away from part of herself." "Marcus, I'm not trying to—" "Let me finish." Marcus held up his hand. "You saved my daughter's life. You gave her a home when she had nothing. You taught her what a real family looks like. I can never repay that, but I can make sure you stay in her life." Stone felt the ground shift beneath his feet. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying we figure this out together. Shared custody, joint parenting, whatever the courts will allow." Marcus's eyes were bright with emotion. "Lily doesn't need to choose between us. She needs both of us. So let's give her both." For a moment, Stone couldn't speak. "You'd do that?" "Stone, 3 years ago, I was a selfish idiot who got himself framed because he wasn't paying attention. I lost everything, my wife, my daughter, my freedom." Marcus's voice cracked. "I'm not making that mistake again. I'm not letting pride or ego or stupidity get in the way of what's best for my little girl. And what's best for her is having as many people love her as possible." Stone felt something release in his chest, something he'd been carrying for months. "Okay," he said quietly. "Okay." Marcus smiled. "Okay? Let's figure this out. Together." Lily appeared between them, looking up at both men with a grin that could light up the whole state of Montana. "Does this mean I have two dads now?" Marcus laughed. "I think it does, baby." "Cool." Lily grabbed both their hands. "Can we get ice cream? I think two dads means double the ice cream." "That's not how it works," Stone said. "It should be." "She's got a point," Marcus admitted. "Don't encourage her." They got ice cream. The transition wasn't easy. Nothing worth having ever is. There were awkward moments, conflicting schedules, disagreements about bedtimes and vegetables, and whether motorcycles were appropriate for 5-year-olds. There were nights when Lily cried for Stone while staying at Marcus's apartment. There were days when Marcus felt like an outsider in his own daughter's life. But they worked through it. All of it. Because Lily was worth it. 2 months after Marcus's release, the final custody hearing took place. Stone sat in the courtroom, his leather cut replaced by a borrowed suit that didn't quite fit. Hawk and Diesel were in the gallery, looking equally uncomfortable. Marcus sat at the other table, his lawyer beside him, and Lily sat between them, her hands folded in her lap, waiting. Judge Morrison reviewed the paperwork, her face unreadable. "This is an unusual arrangement," she said finally. "Shared custody between a biological parent and a foster parent who is not a blood relative. It's not unprecedented, but it's not common either." "Your Honor." Marcus stood. "Permission to speak." "Go ahead, Mr. Dawson." 6 months ago, I was in prison for a crime I didn't commit. My daughter was being abused by someone who should have protected her. She was left to die in a blizzard by a woman who saw her as nothing but a meal ticket. Marcus's voice shook. "I failed her. I wasn't there when she needed me most. But Stone McAllister was. He saved her life. He gave her a home. He showed her what real love looks like." Marcus turned to look at Stone. "I'm her father. I always will be. But Stone is her family too, and Lily deserves a family that's bigger than just blood." Judge Morrison turned to Stone. "Mr. McAllister, do you have anything to add?" Stone stood slowly. He'd never been good with words. Give him a wrench or a rifle, and he knew exactly what to do. But speaking in a courtroom in front of a judge about feelings, this was harder than Afghanistan. "Your Honor, I found Lily on railroad tracks in a blizzard. She was dying. She had a note on her chest that said nobody would ever want her." Stone's voice was rough. "I spent 15 years believing I'd never be a father again. My daughter died when she was 5 years old. I thought that part of my life was over." He looked at Lily. She was watching him with those ancient eyes in that child's face. "But Lily taught me something. She taught me that family isn't about blood. It's about showing up. It's about staying when things get hard. It's about choosing someone and never letting go." Stone turned back to the judge. "I'm not trying to replace Marcus. I'm not trying to take his daughter. I just want to be part of her life. I want to keep showing up. I want to keep being there." Judge Morrison was quiet for a long moment. "Lily," the little girl looked up. "I've read the reports. I've talked to your therapist, your social worker, your teachers. Everyone says you're doing remarkably well given everything you've been through." The judge leaned forward. "But I want to hear from you. What do you want?" Lily stood on her chair so she could see over the table. "I want my daddy," she said clearly. I missed him every day he was gone. I want to live with him and have breakfast with him and let him tuck me in at night. Marcus's face crumpled. But I also want Stone, Lily continued. He saved my life. He taught me that I'm not worthless. He taught me that some people stay. She looked at the judge with 5-year-old certainty. I want both of them. I don't want to choose. Can't I have both? Judge Morrison stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly she smiled. Yes, Lily, you can have both. The courtroom erupted. Hawk and Diesel were cheering. Marcus was crying. Elena was hugging anyone within reach, and Stone just stood there overwhelmed as Lily ran to him and jumped into his arms. We did it, she whispered. We're a family. Yes, sweetheart. Stone held her tight, tears streaming down his face. We're a family. That night they celebrated at the clubhouse. The whole Iron Guardians chapter showed up, plus Elena, plus Marcus, plus half the social workers in Blue Ridge who'd been following Lily's case. There was music and laughter and enough food to feed an army. Stone stood at the edge of it all, watching Lily dance with Diesel, while Marcus looked on with a smile. Hell of a thing. Hawk appeared beside him. 6 months ago, you were the loneliest man I knew. Now look at you. Look at her, Stone corrected. She did this, all of it. She found you. You found her. Hawk shrugged. Maybe that's how it was supposed to be. You getting philosophical on me? Must be the beer. Lily ran over, breathless and grinning. Stone, come dance. I don't dance. Everyone dances. Not me. Please. She grabbed his hand, pulling with all her 5-year-old strength. Please, please, please. Stone looked at Hawk, who was smirking. You're on your own, brother. Stone sighed. And then, for the first time in 15 years, he danced. He was terrible at it. Lily didn't care. Neither did he. Later, much later, Stone carried a sleeping Lily to her room. Marcus walked beside them, quiet but present. You know, Marcus said softly. I spent 3 years in prison, terrified of this moment. The moment I'd have to face the man who'd become her father while I was gone. I'm not her father. You are. Marcus's voice was gentle but firm. Not instead of me. In addition to me. She has 2 fathers now. That's not a bad thing, Stone. That's a miracle. Stone tucked Lily into bed, pulling the blankets up to her chin. She stirred but didn't wake. I don't know how to do this, Stone admitted. Share her. Step back. Be second place. You're not second place, and I'm not first. Marcus stood beside him, looking down at their daughter. We're partners, in the most important thing either of us will ever do. Stone thought about that. About 15 years of grief and guilt and frozen emotion. About a night in a blizzard when everything changed. About a little girl who taught him how to feel again. Partners, he said quietly. I can work with that. Marcus extended his hand. Stone took it. And in that moment, standing over a sleeping child who'd brought them together, 2 men who should have been rivals became something more. Family. 1 year. 365 days since Stone McAllister found a dying child on frozen railroad tracks. 365 days since a note with 7 cruel words changed everything. Lily Grace Dawson turned 6 years old on a Saturday in December. Stone woke at dawn the same way he'd woken every day for the past year. But this morning was different. This morning there was no fear, no uncertainty, no waiting for the other shoe to drop. This morning there was only anticipation. You're up early. Marcus appeared in the clubhouse kitchen, 2 cups of coffee in his hands. He'd stayed over the night before helping Diesel decorate. couldn't sleep. Excited, terrified. Stone accepted the coffee. 23 Iron Guardians, 15 kids from her school, her entire kindergarten class. Elena. Detective Cole. Half the social services department. He shook his head. What was I thinking? You were thinking your daughter deserves the biggest birthday party this town has ever seen. Stone looked at Marcus. They'd come so far in a year, from strangers to partners to something that felt remarkably like brothers. Our daughter, Stone corrected. Marcus smiled. Our daughter. The clubhouse had been transformed. Hawk had strung lights everywhere. Bear had built a wooden stage for the entertainment. Razor had somehow acquired a bounce house, and no one asked how. But the centerpiece was the cake. Diesel had spent 3 days on it. 3 tiers. Pink frosting. Tiny motorcycles circling the top layer. And in the center, 2 figures made of fondant, a little girl with white blonde hair holding hands with a man in a leather vest. It's too much, Stone said when he saw it. It's perfect, Diesel replied. Shut up. Lily arrived at noon, walking between Marcus and Stone, her eyes covered by Marcus's hands. Can I look yet? Almost, sweetheart. You've been saying that for 5 minutes. Okay. Marcus removed his hands. Look. Lily's gasp was worth every hour of preparation. Oh my gosh. Stone Daddy. There's a bounce house and balloons. And is that a cake with motorcycles on it? Happy birthday, baby girl. Marcus kissed the top of her head. Lily spun around her face, shining with joy. This is the best day ever. The best day in the whole world. She ran toward the bounce house where her kindergarten friends were already jumping. Stone watched her go, his chest tight with emotion. She's happy. Elena appeared beside him. Really, truly happy. Do you know how rare that is for a child who's been through what she's been through? She's resilient. She's loved. Elena squeezed his arm. That makes all the difference. The party was chaos in the best possible way. Kids screaming, adults laughing, Diesel running around with a video camera documenting everything, Hawk pretending to be annoyed while secretly making balloon animals for any child who asked. And in the middle of it all, Lily, radiant, joyful, alive. Stone stood at the edge of the crowd, watching. He'd never been comfortable at the center of things. He preferred the margins, the shadows, the places where he could observe without being observed. But Lily had other ideas. Stone! She ran toward him, grabbing his hand. Come on, you have to see my presents. I can see them from here. That's not the same. Come on! She pulled him through the crowd to a table piled high with wrapped gifts. Marcus was already there, helping her organize them. This one's from Diesel. Lily held up a box. He said it's something I'm not allowed to tell you about until I'm 12. Stone shot Diesel a look. Diesel shrugged innocently. This one's from Elena. A smaller box, carefully wrapped. She said it's for when I grow up. And this one? Lily picked up a flat package wrapped in brown paper. This one doesn't have a name on it. Stone frowned. He'd personally checked every gift. This one he didn't recognize. Let me see that. He took the package. It was light, almost weightless. No return address. No card. Stone, Marcus's voice was tense. What is it? Stone carefully opened the paper. Inside was a photograph. An old photograph, faded and worn. A woman with dark hair and a bright smile, holding a baby girl. Lily's mother. Lily as an infant. And on the back, in handwriting Stone didn't recognize, she would be so proud. Thank you for saving our girl. Who sent this? Marcus took the photograph, his hands shaking. "This is Sarah. This is my wife. Where did this come from?" Stone looked around the crowd. Everyone was accounted for, everyone he knew. Then he saw her, an elderly woman standing near the edge of the party. White hair, kind eyes, watching Lily with an expression of profound love and grief. Stone approached her slowly. "Ma'am?" The woman smiled. "Mr. McAllister, I'm sorry to intrude. I just wanted to see her. Just once." "Who are you?" "My name is Dorothy. Dorothy Blackwood." The woman's voice cracked. "Vera and Sarah were my daughters." Stone went cold. Vera's mother. Yes, though I wish to God she wasn't. Dorothy's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't know. What Vera did to that child, what she was planning, I didn't know until I saw the news, until I saw my own daughter being arrested for trying to murder my granddaughter." "You're Lily's grandmother." "I am. Though I have no right to that title. I failed her mother. I failed her. I failed everyone." Dorothy looked at Lily playing with her friends, laughing in the sunlight. "I came to see that she's okay, that she's loved. That's all I wanted." But Stone studied the old woman. Her grief was real. Her shame was real. But so was something else. Something that looked like hope. Why the photograph? Because Sarah would want Lily to know her, to remember her. Dorothy's voice steadied. "I have more. Photo albums, home videos, letters Sarah wrote before she died. I've been keeping them, hoping someday I could give them to Lily, hoping someday she might want to know about her mother." "Why didn't you come forward sooner?" "Because I was ashamed. Because I raised a monster and couldn't admit it. Because I thought Lily was better off not knowing anyone connected to Vera." Dorothy wiped her eyes. "But I was wrong. She has a right to her history, to her mother's memory, to family that isn't poisoned by what Vera did." Stone was quiet for a long moment. "Wait here." He walked back to the party to where Marcus was still staring at the photograph. "Marcus, there's someone you need to meet." And the conversation that followed was difficult. Marcus's anger at the Blackwood family was deep and justified. Dorothy's guilt was overwhelming. There were tears, accusations, painful truths spoken aloud for the first time. But through it all, one thing became clear: Dorothy was not Vera. She had been deceived by her own daughter, manipulated and lied to, just like everyone else. And she loved Lily. Genuinely, desperately, hopelessly loved her. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," Dorothy said finally. "I'm not asking for a relationship. I'm just asking for a chance to give Lily something good from her mother's side of the family. A chance to prove that not all of us are monsters." Marcus looked at Stone. Stone looked at Marcus. "Lily should decide," Stone said quietly. "It's her call." They brought Lily over, explained who Dorothy was, showed her the photograph. Lily stared at the old woman for a long moment. Then she looked at the picture of her mother. "You're my mama's mama." "Yes, sweetheart, I am." "Did you love her, my mama?" Dorothy's face crumpled. "More than anything in the world. Except you. I love you just as much. Even though you never met me. I've loved you since the day you were born, Lily. I just didn't know how to find you, how to reach you." Dorothy's voice broke. "I'm so sorry for everything." Lily was quiet. Then she did something that surprised everyone. She walked forward and took Dorothy's hand. "It's okay. You're here now." Dorothy dropped to her knees and pulled Lily into a hug, sobbing. Lily held her, patting her back with small hands, offering comfort the way Stone had offered it to her so many times. It's okay, Lily repeated. I have a really big family now. There's room for one more. Stone watched his throat tight. This child. This incredible, resilient, forgiving child. She continued to teach him, every single day. The party continued late into the evening. Dorothy stayed tentatively at first, then with growing confidence as the Iron Guardians welcomed her. By sunset, she was sitting at a table with Elena and Hawk, looking through more photographs of Sarah, sharing stories that made everyone laugh and cry. Lily was exhausted, but refused to sleep. She sat on Stone's lap as the sun went down her head against his chest, her eyes drooping. Stone. Yeah, sweetheart. This is the best birthday I ever had. Better than last year. Lily was quiet for a moment, remembering. Last year there had been no birthday. Vera had locked her in the basement and told her birthdays were for children who deserved them. Last year I didn't have a birthday, she said finally. This year I have everything. Stone held her tighter. You know what I want for my next birthday? Lily asked sleepily. What's that? A little brother or sister? I'm not picky. Stone choked on his coffee. Marcus, who had been walking past, stopped dead. Lily, that's not exactly how it... Elena said she wants to adopt a baby, Lily continued innocently. And Diesel said he'd be the best uncle ever. And I said Stone should marry Elena because she's pretty and nice, and she looks at him funny. Looks at me funny. You know, the way Daddy looks at pictures of Mama, all soft and weird. Stone's face went red. Across the yard, Elena had clearly heard every word. Her face was equally red. Lily, maybe we should talk about this later. Why don't you like Elena? That's not it's complicated. Grown-ups always say that when they don't want to answer. Lily sighed dramatically. Fine, but I still want a brother. Marcus was trying very hard not to laugh. Not a word, Stone warned. Wouldn't dream of it. Later, much later. After the guests had left, and Lily was finally asleep, Stone found himself alone with Elena on the clubhouse porch. Hell of a day, Elena said. Hell of a year. She's right, you know. Stone frowned. About what? I do look at you funny. Elena's voice was soft. I've been looking at you funny for months. I kept telling myself it was unprofessional, that I needed to maintain boundaries, that you were a client, not what? Elena turned to face him. Not the kind of man I've been looking for my entire life. Stone's heart stopped. Elena, you don't have to say anything. I know it's complicated. I know we have history. I know there are 1,000 reasons why this is a bad idea. She stepped closer. But I also know that I've watched you for a year. Watched you become a father again. Watched you learn to love again. And I kept thinking if I was going to choose someone, if I was going to take that risk, it would be someone like me. It would be exactly you. Stone had spent 15 years building walls. 15 years keeping everyone at a distance. 15 years convinced that love was something that happened to other people. But Lily had broken through those walls. Marcus had broken through. The Iron Guardians had broken through. Maybe it was time to let someone else in. I'm not good at this, he said quietly. I don't know how to date. I don't know how to be romantic. I spent so long being broken that I forgot how to be whole. I'm not asking for perfect. Elena took his hands. I'm asking for real. I'm asking for honest. I'm asking for someone who shows up. I can do that. I know you can. I've seen it. Stone looked at her, really looked at her for the first time. She was beautiful, not in an obvious way, but in a real way, in a way that had taken him a year to see. One date, he said. Let's start with one date. One date. And if it goes well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Elena smiled. One step at a time. One step at a time. From the window above, neither of them noticed Lily watching. She turned to Marcus, who had also been watching. I told you, she whispered. You did. I'm really good at this. Don't get cocky. Lily grinned and crawled back into bed. Tomorrow would be a new day, a new year, a new beginning. And she couldn't wait to see what happened next. 3 years later, Lily Grace Dawson turned 9 years old in a house filled with love. Not the clubhouse, though she still spent every other weekend there, still called it her second home. A real house with a garden and a swing set and room for everyone who mattered. Marcus had bought it with money from his wrongful conviction settlement. The state had paid him $750,000 for 3 years of false imprisonment. He'd used half of it for the house and put the rest in a trust for Lily's education. But the house wasn't what made it home. Home was Marcus teaching Lily to cook her mother's recipes. Home was Stone arriving every Saturday morning for pancakes. Home was Elena, now Elena McAllister, bringing over their 2-year-old son, a boy they'd named James after Stone's father. Home was Dorothy, who'd moved to Blue Ridge to be close to her granddaughter, who filled the gaps in Lily's knowledge of her mother with stories and photographs and love. Home was the Iron Guardians who still showed up for every birthday, every school play, every milestone. Home was family. All of it. Every complicated, beautiful, unexpected piece. Stone. Lily found him in the garage, working on his motorcycle. Some things never changed. Yeah, kiddo. Can I ask you something? Always. Lily sat on an overturned crate, the same crate she'd sat on 3 years ago when she'd first told him about Vera. Do you ever think about that night? The night you found me, Stone set down his wrench. Every day. What do you think about? I think about how close I came to missing you. How if I'd taken a different route, if the storm had been a little worse, if my headlight had pointed a different direction. Stone's voice caught. I think about what my life would be like if I'd never found you, and I can't imagine it. I can't picture a world where you're not in it. I think about it too, Lily admitted. Sometimes I dream about the cold, about the dark, about the note. She paused. But then I wake up and I'm here, and the cold goes away. Stone pulled her into a hug. At 9, she was getting too big for his lap, but she still fit perfectly against his chest. The note was wrong, Lily. You know that, right? I know. Those 7 words, nobody would ever want you, they were a lie. The biggest lie anyone ever told. I know, Stone. You are wanted. You are loved. You have more people who care about you than most kids twice your age. Stone pulled back to look at her face. You matter. Don't ever forget that. Lily smiled. I won't. How could I? I have 2 dads, a stepmom, a grandmother, a little brother, and about 30 uncles who would literally fight anyone who tried to hurt me. Stone laughed. That's true. Plus, I'm the only kid in my school who gets escorted by a motorcycle convoy on her birthday. We might have gone overboard on that. Are you kidding? My friends think I'm the coolest person alive. Lily's grin faded slightly. Stone, one more question. What's that? Vera, is she ever getting out? Stone's face hardened. This wasn't a topic they discussed often, but Lily was old enough now to deserve the truth. She got 25 years. For what she did to you, for what she did to your father, for what she was planning with Bobby Carver. Stone paused. She won't be eligible for parole until you're in your 30s. Good. Are you worried about her? No. Lily's voice was steady. I used to be. But then I realized something. She's in a prison. I'm free. She's alone. I have everyone. She tried to make me disappear, and instead I got bigger. She looked at Stone with those ancient eyes that had always seen too much. She lost. And I won. Stone felt his heart swell with pride. You did win, Lily. You absolutely did. That evening, the family gathered for Lily's birthday dinner. Stone sat at the head of the table, Elena beside him, with James on her lap. Marcus sat across from them, Dorothy at his side. Hawk and Diesel had somehow gotten invited along with the entire Iron Guardians leadership. It was crowded. It was chaotic. It was perfect. Speech, Diesel called out. Birthday girl has to make a speech. That's not a rule, Marcus said. It is now. I made it up. Lily rolled her eyes but stood up. Okay, fine. A speech. She cleared her throat dramatically. 3 years ago, I didn't have a family. I didn't have a home. I didn't have anyone who wanted me. I had a note on my chest that said I was worthless, and I believed it. The room went quiet. Then Stone found me. He picked me up out of the snow and told me I was going to be okay. And for the first time in my life, I believed someone. With Lily looked at Stone, her eyes bright. Then I got my daddy back. Then I got Elena. Then I got James. Then I got Grandma Dorothy. Then I got about 1 million uncles who smell like motor oil. Laughter rippled through the room. I used to think family was about blood, about who you were born to, but that's not true. Family is about who shows up. Family is about who stays. Family is about who looks at you when you're broken and scared and worthless and says, you matter. I choose you. Lily raised her glass of apple juice. To family. All of you. The ones I was born to and the ones I found. Thank you for wanting me. To family, everyone echoed. Stone couldn't speak. His throat was too tight, his eyes too wet. But he didn't need words. He'd said everything that mattered 1,000 times over the past 3 years. In actions. In presence. In showing up every single day. That was what family meant. That was what love looked like. Later, after the cake and presents, after the guests had left and the house had grown quiet, Stone found himself on the front porch with Marcus. Hell of a kid, Marcus said. Hell of a kid. We did okay, didn't we? The two of us. Stone looked out at the night, at the stars, at a world that had seemed so dark 3 years ago and now seemed full of light. We did better than okay. Think she'll be all right when she grows up? I think she'll be more than all right. I think she'll be extraordinary. Stone smiled. She already is. Marcus nodded slowly. Thank you, Stone. For everything. For saving her. For loving her. For being the father she needed when I couldn't be. Thank you for letting me. They sat, in comfortable silence, 2 men who had started as strangers and become brothers. Inside the house, Lily was getting ready for bed. Elena was singing James to sleep. Dorothy was cleaning up the kitchen, humming an old song that Sarah used to love. And somewhere in a file cabinet in a police evidence room, there was a note. 7 words on a piece of paper, written by a monster meant to define a child's worth. No one will ever want her. The note had been wrong. The note had always been wrong. Because Lily Grace Dawson was wanted. She was loved. She was home. And the people who had found her, the broken biker, the wronged father, the determined social worker, the grandmother seeking redemption, they were home too. Not because they were perfect, not because they had everything figured out, but because they had chosen each other, because they had shown up, because they had refused to give up. That's what family meant. That's what love looked like. And that little girl abandoned on frozen railroad tracks with nothing but a cruel note and fading hope had taught them all how to find it. Stone McAllister had fallen to his knees in the snow 3 years ago, a broken man holding a dying child. Today he stood in the light, surrounded by love whole, for the first time in his life. The note had been wrong, and that made all the difference. Sometimes the people society writes off become the heroes we need most. Sometimes the children the world throws away become the ones who teach us how to love. And sometimes, on the coldest nights, strangers become family, and family becomes everything. Lily Grace. Dawson was abandoned on railroad tracks with a note declaring her worthless. But she was found by a man who had lost hope, saved by a father who never stopped fighting, and raised by a community that learned to see beyond leather jackets and broken pasts. She was never unwanted. She was just waiting to be found.